Now, government has rolled out the first phase of the cylinder recirculation module in Accra and Kumasi. ChannelOne News set out to assess the policy and its reception by consumers. There is more in the following report.
In some rural communities, meals are mostly prepared with the use of the clay cooking stove commonly known as the muchia. Even in some urban centers, the traditional model of cooking is still being used today. However, evolving times have accustomed most homes to the use of gas stoves in preparing their food, which are used cooperatively with the LPG, where gas cylinders are filled at gas filling stations. Presently, government through the Energy Ministry has introduced a new policy termed the Cylinder Recirculation Model and implemented by the National Petroleum Authority in association with GOIL, Puma Energy and New Gas. The head of gas commercial regulation at NPA, Obed Boache, provided details of the model.
The cylinder recirculation model is a mode of distribution of LPG, which we believe is more efficient, particularly in bringing access to LPG closer to people in all parts of the country, especially the rural and then the peri-urban areas. The cylinder recirculation model varies or is different from the current model in a lot of ways. One of the ways is that under the cylinder recirculation model, you do not need to buy a cylinder before you start to use LPG. You can go to an exchange point, you get registered, and then you have access to a cylinder to begin to use LPG. Again, under the cylinder recirculation model, cylinders will be filled at the bottling plants, and then they'll be transported to the cylinder distribution outlets, and then finally to the cylinder exchange points where consumers can just go and then do an exchange.
Mr. Boache explained further how a consumer can register to be a part of this model.
The Ghana card has become the most accepted form of identification for most of these registrations because it has a lot of data that helps people. But then, of course, I mean, it's not going to be limited to the Ghana card. If you have a driver's license, if you have a valid national accepted identification, I think it will be accepted by the LPGMCs on the day and then the resellers.
Members of the public, however, expressed their views on the initiative with varying experiences and expectations.
I heard of a program some time ago. Where I normally fill my cylinder. But when I got there, it's like it came, it was a period. But I got there, I left my cylinder for the exchange. But unfortunately for me, I couldn't have the cylinder, the new one there for the exchange.
Questions have been raised about the sustainability and security of the policy. At the new gas bottling point in Tema, the Chief Executive Officer of New Gas, Emmanuel Ejay Mensah, took ChannelOne News through the stages involved in the bottling of the gas cylinders and the feasibility of this policy in the long run.
The LPG that comes from here is imported. It comes to the jetty, you know the ports, Tema ports. There's a pipeline, these lines you see, 12-inch pipeline that we built. That comes all the way from the port. It gets to Tor, and then we continue. So LPG comes here and here. Without this, you can't fill, because this is the storage. We store them here. We'll show you where the pump house is before we pump them to the other side and fill. So this ensures that anytime we have LPG, at the moment, all these tanks are full. They are full of LPG, so we'll never run short. That's what consumers are worried about, whether we'll be short of LPG. We'll never run short.
In the course of the process, the new gas management revealed the cylinder size is acceptable for a substitution and some payment processes involved. However, this is solely at the discretion of the stakeholders involved in the exchange and may differ from other stakeholders.
When the cylinders are coming from the factory, now most of it is going to come from Ghana, because we have some 3 LPG producers for steel cylinders. So when they come from the factory, this is where we keep them. And we have 4 types of steel cylinders. We have 3 kg, the small ones you see behind us. Then we have 6 kg, 12 kg, and then 50 kg. 50 kg is for the commercial users. And then the 3, 6, and 12 is for the for the domestic. If you bring a 3 kg, the default is I will give you a 3 kg. If you bring a 3 kg and you want a 6 kg, you need to top up. So there's a small, it's not like the cost of buying, it's a small top up. If you come in with no cylinder, you pay a very small deposit.
With the question of safety in times of a gas leakage, the CEO, AJ Mensah, disclosed some measures currently being implemented to prevent a possible explosion at homes and at an exchange point.
Then on top of each cylinder, you see a white cap. Yeah, so that is a pressure relief safety cap. So anytime you are in your house and you feel like the smell, LPG smell, you just put the cap on. It can contain the LPG pressure. So no matter the pressure, whatever is happening, it will stop. If there's a leakage, it will stop it.
The new gas revealed some challenges encountered in the rollout of this policy.
Taxes, import taxes are too much. The first cylinders, we imported them. Subsequent cylinders, we are buying local because of the local manufacturing. They weren't ready when we started, so we imported. The imports were too high. All the machinery and stuff, we had to pay duty. They were too high. But now that we've started, I think what we are trying to create, I call it a new category of employment. And we need to arrange Ghanaians to accept it.
Now, the question this raises is what becomes the fate of existing gas filling stations? Head of Gas Commercial Regulation at NPA, Obed Boache, explained this further.
The LPG industry has been existent. It has been built by the LPG service providers. They've carried the industry for a while. All of them are licensed to distribute LPG. And for us, we want to continue using the same service providers because they've built a lot of experience. They've invested in the market, and so we want to continue using them, their infrastructure to distribute LPG. So yes, the licensed LPG are still going to be the ones who are going to run the LPG cylinder recirculation model. And then so you have usually the LPG they work with the dealers. The dealers also are the ones who operate the what we call the refilling stations now. And so those locations would still continue to operate under the CRM. What we seek to do is to transition those locations to the cylinder distribution outlet.
As you've heard from our resource persons, the CRM model, or the cylinder recirculation model, is here to address issues of safety and convenience. Now, you can take your empty gas cylinders to an exchange point to have it exchanged for a filled gas cylinder. But from some of the views gathered from Ghanaians, it appears that most people are not particularly aware of this new initiative. However, we have brought you the news. You now have the choice to make, either to take your gas cylinders to a gas filling station to have them filled, or to exchange them for an already filled gas cylinder. Reporting for Channel One News, my name is Sarah Apia.